Should the Jamaican government consider banning dancehall songs that promote violence? Gunman song, Badman song, whichever way you want to call them. Should the Jamaican government take such a hard line against such type of dancehall music? Now, that's a discussion that is bubbling up now because I think the mayor or a councillor in Montego Bay, came out and suggested it, because he's saying that they are desperate now in Montego Bay. And if you guys aren't paying attention, Montego Bay is really becoming a war. It's almost like a war zone, and it's not funny. I think they stopped, like, they catch 2 shipments of gun and ammunition coming into the country, a whole heap of guns and ammunition. And most of this is also being fueled by a lot of scamming, because guns and ammunition are cheap, right? So there's clearly a very profitable business taking place, whether it's guns and drugs and extortion or the lot of scamming, this fueling these things. And artists is there, Moby is also now a very hot scene in terms of dancehall music, so dancehall artists might, I don't know, allegedly, suggestion from me, speculating, might also be fueling and funding a lot of these gang activities, and some of us like to pretend like, a music, I just music, it no mean nothing, just like TV show. Listen, this shit is even complicated to get into because a lot of people won't even understand. But music is very influential. Music have been one of the most influential things for years. Because what happens when music is played, it alters your emotions. There's a frequency that does something to your brain. And if you're not someone who's very conscious, when I mean very conscious, it means that you're conscious of your actions and your emotions and what you're capable of doing and what you want to do. You're conscious and intentional about the way you live and the way you live your life. If you're someone that is easily influenced, music can easily influence you. And music has been influencing people again for centuries in wars. People used to, like, if you look back certain Asian cultures, before people go to war, they used to chant music, beat the jump. It causes hyper, he give them this hyper, get them hyper and get the adrenaline pumping and all of these things. Even when I'm studying, one of the best things to do is listen to classical music. It calms the mind and increases my focus, right? So anybody look at you and tell you say dancehall music doesn't influence anyone or is just stupid. Now if I look at you and tell you say dancehall music is the number one reason for crime and violence in Jamaica, I will be lying. But it's a factor, and it's a huge factor, right? And if you look at the places where crime and violence is prevalent, it's in these same ghettos where enough of these artists come from and are singing about and bringing up these ghetto ears, bringing up dance. Right, the psychology behind it. Why you think corporate companies are getting artists to be brand ambassadors? Because they acknowledge that these artists have some form of influence, of a huge amount of influence, that they also want to bring brand awareness. They want the artists to use their influence to bring awareness to their brand so that they can sell products, right? When a young impressionable youth, grew up in the ghetto, I look around and say, yo, who have the hottest girl them? Who get the most hype? Who get the most respect in the community? And you look and say, is a man, is a Dan. A Dan that drive the latest car. The hottest girls them in the community are the Dan of them. You think you not going to want the lifestyle? Again, you have to understand that human beings are social creatures. That is why they have the saying, say, show me your friends, I'm going to show you who you are. If you are in a community that is being influenced and is predominantly gangsters run that community, there's a high percentage chance that you're going to become a criminal as well. You think these men are stupid? I think they don't know what's the end result of being a gangster. Prison, death. Police want to kill you, other gunman want to kill you, you have to depend on the run. But that's a side effect that most of them are willing to deal with, or at least most of them don't even acknowledge that much, because all they can see in front of them is the glory. It's because it's being glorified, not just within the community, but then listen to them favorite artists. I hear them favorite artists, I big up some big Dan from the community. Can you imagine you want to hear your favorite artist, I big up a Dan in your community? And I make it explicitly known. So the reason why I big up this Dan in your community because I'm the top man in your community and I'm a gangster. If you don't want to get that recognition from your artist, what you think you're going to do? Right? Because again, we have to listen. Human beings are social creatures. At the end of the day, all of us are just following. We are following our parents' footsteps. If we used to go to church when we were young, we follow some of the church teachings. You go to school and then teach you something, you follow that. All human beings are following at the end of the day, and that's why it's important to ensure that you have good role models. Because at the end of the day, most of us born into this world as blank slate. A baby coming into this world not knowing anything. He's influenced by his parents. It's influenced by its parents, its community, its environment, the school it goes to. That is why top schools produce top students. It's because there's an influence of achievement in those type of school. KC, Calabar, them are always produce the type of, unless the influence in the school changes. Greatness beget greatness unless some other influence start influencing in that area. So, while I don't think banning the music is going to be very effective because the government really doesn't control much or anything right now. Banning would have been back in the days when radio was the most dominant source to get the music, right? And dancehall and so. But now the internet is a big thing, Twitter, and if you're going to ban it, it's going to cause more problem than that. But I think there should be heavy fines. I think there's ways to go about discouraging the Gunman song, but ultimately the government gonna have to think of a better solution. Ultimately we're gonna have to tackle crime. Gonna have to tackle crime and violence by eliminating poverty, ensuring that the security forces are also effective in catching criminals and making an example of them. To really stop crime and violence is something that's going to require attack on multiple fronts. We hope we can get the dancehall artists then to become better role models. But we have to also tackle poverty, education. All the youths and they get to really lack knowledge in certain area. Them just, we have to go start become better in terms of how we police these communities, ensure that we are effectively policing the communities, ensuring the guns are coming off of the street, limit the amount of guns and ammunition in this community, get rid of the criminal elements them as quick as possible so that they can't influence our parties, cause any havoc and stuff like that. And fine, one I was thinking about was that for all communities with young minds, young bright scholars coming up, there should be a boarding school where the government get these kids from out of the community and board, and also for free too, and fund it. That's the biggest thing will be funding, but it will create such a huge opportunity, not just for the kids but for the parents, because if you could take those kids off the parents and where you put them in a boarding school where you provide education, free food and boarding, and the parent only don't have to just give encouragement, and then the parent don't have to worry about the child in terms of feeding and all of that, and then you can take them out of the community, so the influence of the community is no longer there. They are now among peers where the greatest influence can be how to grow knowledgeable, or to grow in a career path, or to become more successful and all of these things. There's so many things to be done. But the government of Jamaica really doesn't have as much power as we think. Because we live in a world now where capital is king, and Jamaica really, the government is just relying on tax dollars. By the way, a lot of people aren't paying tax and most of the government really doesn't have the money to do anything. But they should do better. That's all like a cop-out for the government. All I'm saying is that it's going to be difficult, but that's my thing. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Should we ban dancehall music from the airwaves? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.